Sometimes the internet delivers a story so absurd you'd think it was made up. That's exactly what happened in July 2025 when a strange bit of news from Nanjing, China started making the rounds. The headline sounded like neighborhood gossip, a woman calling herself Sister Hong meeting men in exchange for groceries, fruit, milk, and bottles of cooking oil. No cash involved. At first, it sounded oddly wholesome, like a neighbor who bakes you cookies if you help water her plants. Except this arrangement was anything but ordinary. People laughed at first, but then the details began to surface. The numbers climbed. The memes exploded. Within days, this small local scandal became one of the most infamous stories in China that year, with headlines calling Sister Hong the 1,000-person slayer. Early gossip claims she met over 1,600 men, a figure so staggering people didn't know whether to be shocked or impressed. The truth, as always, was messier than the rumor. Sister Hong was not a woman at all. Behind the online persona was a 38-year-old man named Zhao, living in Nanjing. Offline, he blended into everyday life, but online he transformed into a convincing middle-aged woman through a combination of wigs, heavy makeup, carefully chosen outfits, and beauty filters that smoothed away every imperfection. He even altered his voice in calls and voice messages to sound warm, feminine, and just a little flirtatious. As Sister Hong, he came across as approachable and kind, the sort of person you might trust immediately. And the unusual part of his offer, "I don't take money, just bring me a small gift," made it seem even less suspicious. Fruit, milk, cooking oil, these were everyday items, cheap and easy to get, and that small detail lowered people's guard. For many, the request almost made it seem more genuine, like it couldn't possibly be part of anything dangerous. Here's what really happened behind the scenes. Men would meet Sister Hong online, exchange friendly messages, and agree to visit in person. When they arrived, the disguise, the lighting, and the setup were convincing enough to pass for the woman in the photos. What they didn't know was that every single encounter was being recorded in secret. Hidden cameras captured everything from multiple angles, and those recordings were later sold online for profit. What makes this case even more remarkable is that some men were repeat visitors, coming back every season, dressing for summer, autumn, winter, and spring, meaning at least 4 visits. By that point, it's believed many of these men had already realized that Sister Hong was actually a man. One famous story involved a man who, upon realizing the truth, reportedly shrugged and said the words that have now gone viral online, roughly like, "I'm already here, so why not?" He continued the encounter, only for Sister Hong to remark that he smelled too bad and sent him to take a shower first before continuing. It's an odd, humanizing moment that perfectly captures the mix of absurdity, loneliness, and real-life awkwardness that made this case unforgettable. When the story finally broke, the internet did what it always does. It went straight for the most shocking version. Anonymous posts and gossip channels claimed Sister Hong had been with 1,691 men. Screenshots of exaggerated records appeared, complete with fake awards. But when the Nanjing Public Security Bureau investigated, they confirmed a different number, 237 known victims. That's still huge, more than enough to fill 2 buses and a small minivan, but far from the 1,000-plus figure that had been making headlines. Even so, 237 people secretly filmed without consent is a serious and disturbing figure, and it made the case just as troubling even without the sensational inflation. Eventually, some of the men began to realize they had been filmed. A few recognized themselves in leaked videos, while others were warned by friends who had stumbled across the footage online. These reports reached the Nanjing police, who opened an investigation. On July 6, 2025, they detained Zhao. The charges included producing and distributing obscene material without consent and fraud. When police searched his home, they found wigs, makeup, women's clothing, camera equipment, and a large library of recordings. They also addressed the rumors directly. There was no evidence of HIV infections, no underage victims, and no links to organized crime. Those were just exaggerations added by gossip. Even after the arrest, the story didn't fade. If anything, it got a second wave of attention. The memes kept coming, and the barter of fruit and cooking oil quickly became the internet's favorite part. Chinese social media filled with parody ads for Hong brand cooking oil, and fake supermarket promotions like "Buy 2 liters, get a free night with Sister Hong" went viral. Videos of men hiding cooking oil in their cupboards even became a mini trend. It wasn't just China. In Thailand, Malaysia, even Latin America, the story spread with local humor added, proving that sexual scandal plus grocery items makes a surprisingly universal meme. But beneath the jokes, the real-life consequences were serious. Some men faced turmoil at home. One man's wife reportedly filed for divorce after learning of his involvement, showing that the scandal wasn't just online entertainment. It had tangible effects on marriages, relationships, and families. Beneath the jokes, though, it was a serious crime. Every victim's privacy was violated. Videos were sold with no control over who saw them, and many victims were mocked, harassed, or had their personal information leaked. The case highlighted an uncomfortable truth. When men are deceived in sexual situations, society often laughs instead of offering support. Commentators noted this wasn't just about one scammer. In a culture where open conversations about sex are limited and loneliness is common, people are more easily lured into risky situations. The modest gifts made it seem harmless, but the consequences were far from trivial. By the end of that month, Sister Hong was a household name, not in admiration, but as a warning. It was a reminder that behind the funniest viral story, there can be real damage and real people suffering. The barter system of fruit and cooking oil made it sound absurd, but the crime itself was serious. It's easy to laugh at the memes, but if the Sister Hong case teaches anything, it's that online personas can be completely fabricated, privacy can be stolen in an instant, and the internet's reaction can sometimes be as harmful as the crime itself. For the rest of us, maybe it's also a reminder to think twice before trusting a stranger with an offer that sounds too strange or too good to be true.